Start presentation. All right, so this is week 8 of the Rails decal, and today we're just going to be finishing up the app that we started last week. Some logistics. So we released the Project 2 specs on Piazza. Have all you guys seen it? Just raise your hands if you got the email. Have any of you actually taken a look at it yet, or no? Okay, so basically the important information for the near future is that this is a group project. You will have between 3 and 4 people in your group, and what you have to do is go to the post on Piazza, go click on the guidelines, actually read the guidelines, and you have to create a repo and add members of your group to that repo and submit it to this Google Doc that is linked on the project guidelines. And you should do this by Saturday night. What we're going to do after you set your groups is we're gonna pair your group up with one of the TAs, and you'll have to meet with them for this project. Are there any questions so far? All right, I guess not. Quick poll, how many of you guys are finished with project 1? Okay, that's a decent number. How many guys are about halfway through? How about barely started? That's fine. You still got tonight, and who just has no idea, haven't even read anything. It's okay. It's doable. I mean, we're not trying to break your guys' back in this class. Just hopefully, it's enough work where you hopefully learn a lot from doing it. Okay. Continuing on, if you guys don't remember, last week we were making an app called Quitter. And what Quitter is Twitter for quitters. Basically, people make posts or pretty much tweets about stuff they want to quit. And here's the basic idea that we ran through, where people could post anything about what they're quitting, and admins could moderate what kind of posts just to make sure they're appropriate. So this is what we went over last week within the app. First, we were able to make our user and post models. We were able to do user auth, which is basically recognizing which user is currently logged in. We added validations and associations. And we were able to seed some data, create routes for our controllers, and those routes were the user show and index. Step 5, we were able to edit, update quits, or basically think of your quits as tweets. We're able to update your posts, create posts. But the problem is that there is no authorization in our app. And if you guys remember what Sam left off with, is that anybody could edit any posts, even though they did not own that certain post. And what we're going to do today is cover how we add that kind of functionality to our app. And the basic tool we're going to use today is something called can. It's a gem that you could just add to your gem file, and we will start. We'll just start with live coding. Any questions before we start? All right. Let's do this. So, well, I'm going to actually start from the beginning. Not from the beginning, but so right now I have a file that is fall 15 lecture 7, which is basically, this is all of what Sam did last week. So I'm going to start almost fresh and just copy that for that folder for our live demo. So it's an approximate place of where we're going to start to live. Then I'm going to my live demo repository, and cool. Check out Okay, and have any of you guys actually taken a look at the live code that, or not the live, or basically the code Sam put from last lecture, or no? All right, I'm gonna assume that's a no. So basically to look at the code from the beginning, in case you weren't here and to follow along, you could start with, you go to Rails Decal, GitHub, go to Fall 15 Lecture 7, and there are gonna be 3 branches on this. The current master branch, or the branch this is on right now, is basically, this is a fresh application. There's nothing really done on it except the README, which tells you step by step what Sam did. There are 2 other branches. There's a branch called Lecture 8, which is my, I guess, plan of the first half of what we're doing today. That's already put up there for just for me to prepare and just to have code to reference. But the branch you care about right now is end, which is basically, it's Sam doing steps 1 through 6, all done on this, and this is our starting point. So in this repo, I'm going to do git checkout end, and now I'm at the end repository. And what I should always do after I clone a repo is bundle install. Okay, I bundled installed. I'm going to rake db migrate to add to make the changes for my migration, and I'm going to start my server by running Rails S. Okay, go to my localhost 3000. And here is our empty application. Okay, can anybody tell me how do I sign up for this app? Is there a route for it? Yes, there is a route for it. But let's say I'm a user interface kind of guy, right? And or let's say I'm a totally, like, I don't know which to go to certain URLs. Right now, how do I sign up or log in? Exactly. Exactly. I have no clue, right? All I see is a home button. So first thing I'm going to actually do is create a login and logout button, or a login, logout, and sign up button, all on my header. Okay. First, going to go here, and I'm going to open up my text editor for my live demo. So to find my header, I'm going to go into my app, my views, and my layouts, application.html.slim. So right now, if you can, I'm going to make that larger. If you look at this, this is our current nav bar right here. So this application.html.slim is what all the rest of our views inherit from. And right now, and basically we do customize views in the individual views in the other folders, like here, edit.html, new.slim. And all those will appear under this. This is what the yield's for. It's saying that anything that this inherits from, put this on top, or yield the rest of this to the other views. But this is like our header up here. So right now, what I'm going to do is write logic that says, hey, if we're logged in, show me a logout button, and show me a link to my profile. Otherwise, show me a sign up and a sign in button. Yeah, sign up or a sign in button. So does anybody know how to check to see if I'm logged in? All right, so when you use devise, you have a really useful helper in both your controller and your views, and it is called current user. And you have, since I have access to it in my views, I could say if, and to use Ruby logic in Slim, you just put a dash. So if current underscore user I'm going to say, I'm going to make a paragraph tag and say, I'm logged in. Else, I'm logged out. Okay, so I save this view, and I go all the way to my browser, and bam! If I refresh, you can see right here, I didn't style it or anything, but it says I'm currently logged out because I just restarted this app from the beginning. Well, not from the beginning, but my database is fresh, so there are no users, right? So logically, in this view, I want to, in my logged out phase, what the two buttons I want are sign up and sign in. And now I want to create those buttons and route them. So I'm going to go back to this view and say, if I'm logged out, I'm going to steal some code right here. Let's see. If I'm logged out, I want to create a button that is sign in and sign up. Okay. Now I've created these two buttons, but right now they direct me to root path. What I want to figure out is to direct me into the sign-in page or the sign-up page. How do I figure out these URLs? Anybody? All right, so useful tool from a little back is this command line, this bash thing that you run called rake routes. And it'll list, I'm gonna try to see if I can make it fit. Okay, so when you run rake routes, it will list all your routes that have a path variable associated with it. Lucky for us, Devise gives us these routes for us, and one of them is new user registration right here. You can see it would go to what naturally would have been our user/signup page. And another one is new user session, which would go to our sign-in page. So instead, what I will change this to is path new user session. And like all our path variables, I just append the string path at the end. And for this one, I'll do new user registration underscore path. Save. And I'll just go back to the front end, refresh, and now I have these two buttons. One to sign in, but I don't have any account information that exists yet, and one for sign up. And I'm going to sign up as h@c.com, 11223344, 11223344, sign up. And now I have this name can't be blank. Why is that? Does anybody remember from last week? So I'll show you. So if we go to our user.rb, which is, well, if you want to go through the app view, it's through app, models, user. We have validate name present true. So that means at the model level that we always need a name on a user, but on the form given to us by Devise, we don't have that name. So in this situation, what do we do? And I'm not asking in like what piece of code do we write? Like as like a person sitting in front of my computer, this error occurs while I'm developing my app. What do I do? Oh, sorry, repeat that. Yeah, I do add the name text box, but how do I figure out how to do that? Sorry, this is a weird question. I was just aiming for someone to say just like look at the documentation for Devise, right? Or just Google Devise right here. And this is, what you want to call it? This is really, really long. So I could just generate devise. So this is me shortcutting to it because I know where it is. But then in the end, you'll probably make custom views. I just searched Rails generate devise views because I know that's the command that comes up. But when you read through the documentation, you can figure out, oh, this is the command where I make custom views. Okay, so I copy paste this into my console, bam, and now we wait. So what this command did was generate all the code for the views devise is giving me, and instead of hiding it away within the gem, I could have direct access and edit any view I want. So I'm going to go right now to my views folder. You see devise scopes all its views within this devise folder, making it really convenient. I could go to registrations, since I'm registering a new user, right? And go to new.html.erb. And this is our sign-up form right here. So what information did I need again on my user to allow my user to sign up? Name, exactly. So I'm just gonna copy this line right here, put in name, turn off the autofocus. And we'll now go back, refresh this, I don't want to, I'm just gonna hit sign up again. So now this is what our sign up page looks like now. Now I have a new text input. So I could just do h@c again, change my name to Howard, same password. Okay, what do you think will happen when I hit sign up? So usually when I ask this question, it's a trick. So I'm getting this thing called unpermitted parameter name. Can anyone imagine why I'm getting that? Well, exactly. I don't have a whitelist anywhere, and so I didn't wait. So if you guys remember what strong parameters were, this is the issue I'm running into. That I'm trying to send a parameter that isn't allowed, and devise is saying, wait, no, you can't do that. So I have to tell devise that it's the name is okay to be added when you create a user. So again, there's all this documentation here for you, but I know I've used this before, so I'm just gonna control find to show you how to add that field. It's under strong parameters of the topic we talked about before. And it's this little piece of code right here in the middle that says that you put in your application controller. And application controller is the controller that all your controllers inherit from. And what before action does is say, oh, I'm going to pass you some values, and the first value is going to be a function that we will run, and the second is like options, right? And the options is if device controller. That means if we are using like a device controller, aka like registration, then we will run this function right here, and this function is saying, oh, devise parameter sanitizer dot for signup. So it's saying allow this extra field for our signup process, and what we appended was, in this example, it's username, but for us, we don't have a username, we just have a name. So I'm just gonna copy that, go to my app controller, application controller, and just copy that there. Okay. Now, where am I? I'm here. Okay. I'm going to restart my server actually. And sign up, Howard. 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4. Sign up, and bam. Now I have one user on this site, which is me. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? Yes, no. Okay. Quickly, we haven't even gotten into the auth part, just like how to, I guess, create this sign in, sign up button. So there's 2 more buttons I want to make, and that is the user show and the logout button. So if we go back to this, our application at html.slim, since I'm currently logged in, since I signed up as Howard, I have this I'm logged in text right here. But instead, I want to create 2 buttons. I want one to link to my profile. So I'm going to say link to, since I have access to my current user. I'm going to make the text say my name. And the second one is log out. Now I need to figure out the path to my current, or basically the user show path. How do I check that? I fire rake routes. And I look, I see there is a user path right here, which generally maps to my show. So I could just say user path and pass it my current user and log out. If we go back here, basically logging out means destroying your session. So a session is basically kind of like the object that maps to a login. And what I want to do is destroy a session. So I look at this prefix right here, copy and paste it, and I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to refresh. Now I have access to my show view for my user, which will list me all the quits. So let's say I just put like quit smoking, adds that quit right there. So right now, when I hit log out, I might run into an issue. And it's not logging me out. Can anyone tell me why? Or I'm going to go to home and see if this, I'm still not logged out, and if I hit log out, it's not helping. Can anyone think of a reason why? Yeah. Oh, crap. I switched that. Okay, it's still not supposed to work, but it's not supposed to work in a different way. I was actually confused when I hit log out and nothing happened. Okay, destroy, I'm just gonna copy pasta to get that. Destroy user session. Okay. And destroy user session path. Bam. Okay, and I hit log out. This is the error I was expecting, but why isn't this logging me out? If I want you to look carefully at this route right here. Yeah. You do not need to. That's a good guess for because of the format in the middle column. It kind of seems like you do, but you actually don't. That's not the problem. It's actually the second column right here. the verb. So when you create a link, right, or a button, the normal request it sends is a GET request. So I'm making something a GET request to destroy user session, so it's kind of flipping out and it doesn't know what to do. So if I could fix it by passing it in an option called method, and I'll put delete, which sends me a delete request instead. And I hit log out. Now I go back to my normal sign in, sign up. I could sign up for a new user, Sam, password 11223344. Okay, 11223344. Bam. So now I have 2 users, and now we just got a better looking version of what we started with. And we still have the problem where I can edit someone else's quits, and that's not good. So now we get to authorization, or saying which users can do what. Do any of you guys remember from the top of your head what gem I said would allow us to do authorization? All right, I'm just gonna say it. It's can. There's Google can. There's a GitHub repo for it, and lucky for us, easy instructions right here. All I have to do is add gem can, and specify this version number right here. It's my gem file. So go to my gem file. I go to go right here under device. Pop open this gem. I'm gonna run bundle install, and it should have installed that gem. Now, how can works is it has a special file called ability.rb, and what that does is in that file you could specify if logic that says a user has the ability to either like read, update, create, or destroy objects. To generate our ability.rb, the gem gives us this handy command line tool, Rails G can ability. We type it in and bam. It created this file in our models called ability.rb. So I'm going to destroy everything here. I'm going to go to app, models, and ability.rb. And lucky for us, they even gave us a little example piece of code right here. Bam. And here's the logic that you have to define. It's within this initialize. They'll first apparently take this, I'm gonna move this one into station app. They're gonna create a user or equals user.new. I'm gonna delete this line. Okay, can anyone tell me what's happening in this first line, or venture a guess? What is happening on this line? Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what's happening. So basically, when you call, your Ruby code will call initialize on whatever your current user is, right? If you remember that variable I used in the views and in the controller, when you do that, it passes that into this initialize method to create an ability object. And there's 2 states that current user could be in. One is you could be signed in and you have a user object, or it could be nil. And what or equals does says, or what or equals, this double bar and the equal sign means is that if the variable to the left has been has either returns a true value, then we will assign it to the expression to the right. But if it already exists, then we just don't do anything with it. So basically, if we do have a current user, we won't run the logic to the right. But since we do have a current user, we will just create an empty user. And the reason for that is we don't want to write the rest of our logic always checking to see if user is nil or not. We want to just have an empty user object and assume that's like the most general version of a user. So let's say if I didn't know how to use this can, right, or this ability.rb, lucky for me, the documentation points me to something called defining abilities. If I go look in here, this will tell me everything about how to define abilities for things. So I'm just gonna go through a small amount of the logic. If user.admin can manage all, what can manage all means is that if this user is an admin or responds true to this .admin method, then you could read, update, create, and edit all objects within our Ruby code. This won't work right now. Can anyone tell me why? Yeah. Oh, manage is defined by can. This symbol is defined by can. So in the can logic, it will probably say somewhere that if you pass in the symbol manage, allow create, read, update, destroy, right? So the error isn't, the problem right now with running any of this is the fact that we're calling this .admin method on the user, and we've just never defined a .admin on it. So right now, I'm just in the short run, I'm just gonna temporarily do this. I'm going to define admin ? And just make it return false. So no one's an admin right now. Okay. Else, basically, if it's just a regular user or we're an empty user, we could read all objects. We have permissions to get like the show view of all the information. What are we trying to, can anyone tell me what we're trying to limit right now? Like, which object are we trying to limit our access to at this moment? I kind of heard it, but quits, exactly. So we have to, well, I'm probably, wait, sorry. Do you have any questions before proceeding? Even if you feel like it's silly, because I'm trying to teach you like this whole gem, and I know it might be a little overwhelming. I'm actually gonna slow down a little bit and explain some lines, what should I call it, or explain can. Can is something defined by can, which says when you pass it a bunch of values, its first value is either a single symbol or an array of symbols that represents the amount of access you have. And the second item represents the object you want to talk about, or the object you want to add authorizations to. And you have optional conditions at the end that you could pass at the end. So right now we're going to write a can method, right? And what we want to prevent people from doing, or sorry, what abilities we want to give people is the ability to either create a quit, update a quit, or delete a quit, or just let me see if that's the right word. Destroy. Sorry. So you see in the documentation, they'll give you an example of how to write a can line, right? So I'm just going to copy this format, update, destroy, comma, except I put delete instead of destroy. So I'm going to do create, update, and destroy. And the second value is going to be the objects we want to put or to have abilities over. And right now it's a quit because that is our model that we define right here, a quit. Okay. And the third thing I said that followed this that was optional was conditionals, or basically saying I could create, update, and destroy quits as long as what? And if we look at the documentation, if I look for conditionals, you could pass it a hash of conditionals. For this example they give us right here, I'm going to make it larger. It says can read project. Basically, you could go to a show view of a project if the active is true. So basically imagine that there's a .active method on projects, right? So if .active returns true and .user_id is equivalent to user.id, then you're allowed to read this project. So I'm gonna follow that similar logic. So what fields do we have to match on a quit to say that I can either create this quit, update, or destroy a quit? If we look at our quit RB, thanks to our handy them annotate, what field do we want to match to see if we have access to something? I don't know if this is actually anybody? Okay, so I'm just gonna say it's basically this the field user ID. So you know how we associate this quit right here, like this drinking quit. It has a user ID on it. It probably has user ID 1, so we know it belongs to the user with ID 1. So logically, it makes sense that in the condition that the quit's user ID value is the same thing, is equivalent to the current user, which is this user down here where my mouse is, references the user up here, which was the current user value. If the user ID on the quit matches the current user's .id method, then we know that this quit belongs to us and that we have the ability to create, update, and destroy this certain quit. Okay. Now, usually, so there's one last thing we have to do before this starts working. I'm going to show you that it's not working right now because I could just update this quit, no problem. So even though I defined this ability, it seems like nothing's using it right now. How do I make my controller use the quit? If you look at the documentation, scroll around, you find this method right here. I'm just gonna, instead of you guys reading through it, I'm just gonna tell you, it's load an authorized resource. When you put that at the beginning of your controller, it will make sure that, that every time you like do a show, edit, update for that resource, that we'll check through our ability.rb. So the resource that we're trying to add abilities to is our quits controllers. So I'm gonna go to my quits controller and just paste that line. Load an authorized resource. Now, I'm going to go back to my lecture and I'm logging as Sam. I'm gonna try to access Howard's quit, but, oh crap, load an authorized resource for controller class. Okay, that didn't work out like I thought. Oh, I think I need one more thing. Load an authorized resource. Include can ability. Okay, I think I need to add this to my application controller really quickly. Okay. Restart my server. And oh, I have no show view for the quits. I'm going to start from the beginning of our app. Go to Howard. Okay, so when I try to access it, devise now errors out. So I've successfully prevented Sam from editing Howard's quits. And just to make sure I could still create quits for Sam, and I could still edit my own because on this quit, it has the same user ID as my current user. But for Howard, it doesn't. So when I try to edit it, I get no access. Does anyone have any questions now? Yeah.
So there also be a way to make like no access codes?
Yeah, that's what I was about to get to. So since the question was asked, I'm just gonna do it. So basically, UI-wise, what I should do is not allow the quits. Like, I want to be able to see what Howard's quits are. I just don't want to be able to get the sense that I can edit them. So if you look through the can definition at the top or near the top, it's gonna talk about this can method in your controller, or sorry, not in your control, in your views. You basically can, in your views, call a can question mark controller, pass it like an action, for example, update, and pass it an item. It will perform logic and return true or false, whether like the current user can update a certain article. What we're gonna check for is to see if the current user can update a quit. And if the user can, we will do our regular logic, create the link to the edit view. Otherwise, let's just put like a paragraph tag that is the text of the quit, but do nothing else. So I can access my views. I'm going to close my device tree. I have my quits folder, but that's not what I want. What I want is my users, and my users show method, because this is where I list all my quits. Now I could say my Ruby logic, if can question mark update quit. Then I'm going to create a link to the edit path for the quit. Otherwise, I'm just going to make a paragraph tag that is the quit.text. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my lecture, refresh. Now, I in no way get the sense when using the app that I'm supposed to click on this, or that I have editable access on the view side, versus when I'm Sam, right? Which is, when I go on Sam, which is my own quits, I could just go on my way and continue editing my quits. Now, one last thing I just want to show before is, basically, it seems like I still could click this plus button, right? Which I shouldn't be allowed to. How can I check to see if the user I'm looking at is myself? Sorry, like the show view of the user I'm looking at is like the current signed-in user versus looking at somebody else. Yeah. Yeah, you could compare user IDs, but you could even just simply compare not just the IDs, but the objects. So if I go to my show view again, right, I create a link to a new post for a user all the time, but now I want to say if current user, basically, if the current user is equivalent to @user, aka if these two objects are the same, the @user is the user I'm looking at, current user is the current signed-in user. If that is true, if they're two equivalent things, I'm going to create the link. Else, just going to just have the name by itself. And I'm going to go refresh this. Okay. I messed up because I needed this. Equals. Unexpected equal sign. Oh. There we go. So now when I'm looking at Howard, which is someone else, I don't get the plus sign to create a new, well, I didn't want to open this, to create a new quit versus if I go to my own Sam, I could say, hi, quitting hi, and yeah. All right, any questions so far? Yeah.
So when you like change like the adding this thing, so like say you can't add it to a different user,
Mhm.
is there a difference from like doing like checking the others with the same like can?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Scope or your text.
Okay.
Like, is there a difference when checking a different user at user like it can update?
You could do that, but using the can for that one's a little harder because right now when you try to create a quit, it doesn't have a user ID associated. It's just a little more logic involved, but you could definitely just use the ability to do that. All right. So this is right now all the code that I've written so far is what was put on the I guess what I would say the pre-planned lecture or all the code that is currently on the repository. It's pretty much the same. I might be like a few spaces off, but generally all the logic's there. But I did not write one part of this, and that is how to do admin. And why I did that is I just wanted to get your guys' suggestions actually of how to implement an admin thing. It could be as simple or as complicated, or hopefully not super complicated, but it could be as simple as you want. Yeah. Yes, there could be more than one admin. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that works. But so then right now, um, what you're suggesting is we just have like like a table of emails, right? And what we have to do is check to see if a certain value is within, or like if the current user's email is within that table of values. Okay, yeah, that works. Any other ideas? It's not like it is a bad idea. It's just building out for more ideas. Yeah. Yeah. You could do that too. You could add is admin, and basically it's true or false stored on every user, and on every time you just check to see when you get out the user if that variable is true. That works too. Does anyone have an idea of how we actually do admins or role stuff within our within the Rails Decal website? All right, so I'm just gonna tell you guys how we actually do it. There is no like right way to do it, and I was just normally I think the last time I did this lecture, all I did was I just added a column that said admin to the user, right? Which is really simple, but so the problem with that is only when you have more roles than an admin. Let's say you have like something that's below an admin but like above a regular user. then you have to add one more Boolean, right? Versus if you add one more role above, like between that, or let's say it's not even between, it's like at the same level, but it's below an admin but above a user, then when you have a lot of different resources and different roles have different abilities for resources, it gets really complicated with the checks that you have to do when you have to compare to see, oh, does it have this certain role, if true, but if it doesn't have this certain role along with this role, can you do something? So yeah. So I have two ways we could roll with this right now. Do you want to just see what happens if we add a column, or do you want to do like more of this this side table method, or did you want to see? Yeah, let's just keep it at those two options. Can we get a raise of hands who wants to just see Boolean implementation? Okay, can I also see a set of hands for just like a table list implementation? Can more people vote? Okay, okay. Everybody at least try to vote between the first and the second one. Who wants the Boolean one? And who wants a table? Okay, it looks like the Boolean one wins. Sorry, table friends. So, all right. Can anyone tell me, how do I add a field onto an object or onto a model? Okay, yeah, I'm hearing it across the board, so I'm just gonna, what people are saying is Rails G migration. And I'm gonna say add admin to users. And I'm going to go check my migrations to make sure everything looks right. And you can find all your migrations in db migrate. And what I'm going to do in this migration file is add column, the name of the table, which is users, which is it's the name of our model, lowercase and pluralized. So add column to users, admin, and type is Boolean. What I'm going to do now is rake db migrate to actually run our changes. And now if we check our schema.rb, it will have, our users will now have this Boolean column right here. And interesting thing about Boolean columns, I'm actually gonna show you something. I'm gonna roll back the migration. Roll back. And so you don't want to roll back migrations in production. It's better than like just deleting everything, but I'm just rolling back just to show a cool trick you can do. You can give default values to a column, so I'm just going to say default false, so that it doesn't get initialized as a null value, but it starts out with false. So then I'm going to remigrate it, rake db migrate. And then when I check my schema.rb, it will say Boolean admin default false. I'm going to now, I'll open my Rails console and just show you something kind of interesting. So right now, if I go to my user.first, it has admin false, and user.last has admin false. But if I do user.first.admin, would you would expect that it would just return me the false value, right? But an interesting thing enough, if you use if the column's a Boolean column, what Rails will let you do, or what Rails will automatically do for you, is give you the question mark version of the attribute. So in case A common practice in Ruby is if a method returns true or false, the method ends with a question mark. It's why it's just something you probably thought was weird because you never really see punctuation in method names until like, I guess, this decal where you're just seeing some weird method names, but that's just actually really common in Ruby. So since if they know it's a Boolean column, they'll just append a question mark for you and allow you to use that instead. So what we can do now actually is user.last.update. So this user.last is Sam, right? Sam is calling update. I just passed it a hash of attributes that I want to change. So the hash of attributes I'm going to say is admin true. We'll update that. So when I do user.last, now Sam is an admin. Now, if you remember earlier, I took out this, I added this method because ability.rb says that calls user.admin, but since I didn't have an admin column at first, it wouldn't have worked because I didn't have neither a column nor a method. And this method was just like a little patch I put on just to make it work. What I can now do is just take this out and rely on the actual column. So I'm going to now exit out my console, Rails, as for Rails server. I'm logged in as Sam. Now, I can edit Howard's thing because I just made user.last an admin. And since, let's say, this is like a 21 plus or 21 and under site, so we can't talk about drinking, I could just take this away and just put something way more PG. Teletubbies. I don't know how to spell that. But update quit and wham. That's how you can do authorization within your guys' Rails applications. So yeah, that is the end of what I plan to lecture on. Is there any general questions that you guys have or want me to show? Because I know your guys' project, your first project is due tomorrow. Yeah. Are there any security issues with making a variable? Not that I could think off the top of my head. Like the big security issue would be like if we didn't have something like strong parameters and I fired requests that said admin was true, yeah, but since strong parameters prevent that, I can't think off the top of my head where it'd be a security issue. It's just more of it's a harder to scale thing, I guess. Any general questions about the project? Yeah. How do I do it for the Rails website? Well, I'll just show you while talking about it. RailsDecal.com, app models. Okay, so basically you can actually figure out how our website works all by looking at this. So let's see. So basically we have user objects, right? Like I have an account on this, you hopefully have an account on this. And that means we all each have an entry that is a user object. It has a bunch of methods on it. And we have another thing called position. And a position is just one of our, like it's a role that you have. So in our database, we create this table of roles. And what those roles consist of right now, we only have 4 entries in this table. It is instructor, TA, student, and observer. And what the difference is instructor is like me, I like manage all. TA has like a lot of access, but not like complete access. Student, you get to look at your own profiles just to look at your grades. And student is, having the student role allows you to submit something on your assignments page. So we actually just go to the website, railsdecal.com, and you have assignments. For me, I get to, I graded my homework once, but what should I call it? I'm using, like this is device. I'm pretty sure you guys don't, hopefully you guys can't delete assignments off, but these special buttons are only like accessible to me because I have like instructor role. And in case, so for a lot of you guys, since you weren't like officially students at one point, when you looked at this assignment page, you cannot submit a GitHub link. Since I'm not like a student, I'm only an instructor, I can't see the little bar that says, oh, submit the link to your GitHub repo here. But sorry, that was me getting sidetracked. So we have a position table, and we have one more table in between that is called a role table. So what a role is it's a join between a semester object. So we have an entry in our database for each semester. It's how we organize data. So we have students that belong to certain semesters. We have users, which are actual accounts, and we have a position. So then my position could be TA in one semester and have only partial access versus the next semester I have instructor access, so I can see everybody's information for a certain semester, but only a subset for a smaller semester. So for us to add a role or like to like make us an admin, I have to create a role object, point it, and have it belong to a position, which is right for my current, right now that position is instructor. User is the account tied to howardxchen@gmail.com, and semester is currently like fall 2015. But yeah, that's how we do roles. We have several entries in a database that define our roles, and then we have an ability.rb that says, that right here defines what we can do versus what you guys can do. So yeah, is there anything you want me to clarify, or is that like an okay overview? Yeah.
How do you specify people to be like, TAs or instructors? Because I'm guessing the users is observers or users.
Observers or users are dynamic. So then when you first sign up for the website, let's see if I can actually pull up the code right here. First, when you sign up for the website, add role for current semester. So basically, we will call this method when you sign up for the website, right? And basically, if we don't pass you a role for the semester, we're going to automatically just make you an observer. Blah, blah, blah. This is just our like queries we run to find that role and then create or to find a position and create a role for you guys. To make you guys students, to change you from an observer to student is our student application process. If you guys remember that you filled in an application, right? And originally the whole staff kind of went through them. And then through the website, when we click like, oh, add the students to the class, it'll transform that account to from an observer to a student. And for those who came into the class through a wait list and like after people dropped out, most of you guys had the trouble of, oh, I could not submit a GitHub assignment because you weren't created as a student through this method. And what we had to do was like pop open the Rails console on our remote Heroku server and run this method. Here we go, sorry. If I go to user.rb, add role for current semester. So what we did was for current semester, what we did was we passed in the role name, which every time was role : student. And yeah, when we ran that code, it would work. For the TAs, I just popped open the Rails console and then add role for current semester TA. And to make myself an instructor, I just did the same thing. Popped open the Rails console, add role instructor. Any other questions? Okay, so for those of you who aren't finished with the project, would you guys, how many of you guys would find it helpful if I added an additional office hours from 12 to 1? Because I know my current one is from like 1 to 2. Okay, quite a few of you guys. So just to let you guys know, I'll be there from 12 to 2 tomorrow. And Qualcomm, same spot. And finally, I'm this end of lecture. I'm gonna set up the check-in code, and you guys just figure out your team and try to submit your team to us. Hopefully, definitely by Saturday, but hopefully before the end of this class. All right. Hmm?